Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports King.Pod. Before we get into the sports of today, I'd like to take a moment to talk about real life. A few days ago, I received news that a classmate I had graduated with just a few months back has sadly passed away. I personally was not very close with him, but I have many friends who were close with him. At the top of the description down below, you can find a link to a GoFundMe that you can donate to that will benefit his family deeply. I myself, and on behalf of the Price brothers, have already made a donation to it. I now ask you to consider donating a small amount to benefit the family. The entire cast of the Sports Kingdom sends their condolences to the family, and to my friends, stay strong.
And then even make it to
We're
the
live.
playoffs.
Welcome, episode 10 of the Sports King Pod. We're getting in a big debate over here between USC, Penn State, quarterbacks, running backs. We'll probably dive into it later, what we were talking about. But guess what? Episode 10, look at us. We've made it double digits. Who would have thought? I would have thought, because I like doing this. So we'll make it to 100. I guarantee it. We'll make it to 1,000. Who knows? I'm Dominic, your host as always, joined up top by the Price brothers, Daniel and Anthony. Guys, we got a good weekend in sports coming up. Why don't we get started with the NFL? It kicks off week 10, Thursday night football between the Colts and the Titans, a very big NFC South showdown. Let's go ahead and break it down. What do we got?
Yeah, this is a really big game. It may even decide the division. So I'm pretty sure they play this week, and then in 2 weeks after this. So two really big games because the Texans and the Jaguars are already out of it. So this game has very big playoff implications. So the loser could still end up making the playoffs in a wild card spot. But for me, I like the Titans in this one. I just think they're a better football team overall. I just don't know how both these teams have pretty good defenses. Definitely the Colts more so than the Titans, but I feel like the Titans will be able to move the ball, for a drive or two, because that might separate these two teams rather than the Colts.
Yes, I gotta pick the Titans also. Their Colts, their defense is very good. But they just don't have an offense. One week they'll score 41 points and then another they'll score seven. I think this is one of those weeks to where they'll score seven. Philip Rivers, he's a great quarterback and all, but he's just not the answer for the Colts. So the Colts need a new quarterback, and then they'll be true contenders. But this game. I think the Titans will take, and then in 2 weeks, I think the Titans will take it again.
Yeah, you guys make very valid points on both sides. I don't imagine this game will be too high scoring. I'm thinking like 21-17-ish, 24-21 kind of range. I think Derrick Henry probably has a pretty big game in this. I don't imagine Ryan Tannehill's going to pop off for too much. He might have, 200 yards, maybe something like that. A.J. Brown might have a good game. But I imagine the Titans are heavily going to rely on Derrick Henry. He'll bring home the money like he usually does. They'll win this game. They'll take an even bigger lead in the AFC South, which is close right now between them two. So they're going to need this win. It'll be very important for them. And I like what Anthony said. Philip Rivers just really isn't the answer for the Colts. I mean, I'm not going to say Jacoby Brissett was the answer either because he wasn't doing all that well. They really got screwed over when Andrew Luck retired, but that wasn't their fault. So
This team would be scary with luck.
yeah, definitely.
Man.
I think because they got a great defense, as Dan said, and if they still had a quarterback like Andrew Luck, it would have been even better. But the Colts, in a couple of years, I think they will be a good team. Hell, even maybe next year if they get a good quarterback, depending on what happens in the offseason, what they could do. Anthony really wants them to get Sam Darnold. He probably would help out a lot. Not sure how much, but Colts fans, be on the lookout. This team's going to be good. They're good now. They're going to be even better in the near future. So I think we're all going with Titans Thursday Night Football, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Line for that game is even, and the over-under is 48.5. I don't know if my math checks out. It does. I'm going to go the under. What about you guys?
I'll probably
Under.
take the under too.
Very interesting. Very unlike our college over-under predictions. We'll move on to the Sunday part of Week 10. It starts. Eagles play the Giants in a rematch of their game from a couple weeks ago. Eagles are getting a little bit healthier. Miles Sanders looks to return. Alshon Jeffrey looks to return for the first time this season. And the Giants, obviously, they've been without Saquon Barkley for the entire season. They haven't been playing all that well. They've had games here and there where they could have won. They messed up a little bit. They had the game against Dallas a couple weeks back where it was close up to the end. They lost that game. They're very close to being the Eagles the last time these teams played. A few mishaps, led to the Eagles eventually winning that game. But this is a good matchup, I would say, in my opinion. NFC East. Giants win this, they're right back in the conversation to win the division. So what do we got on this game?
I think that the Eagles should take this one. I think because they're healthier, I think that the margin victory will be a lot larger, not like, they have to come back down and win off a game-winning touchdown. The Giants barely scraped a win at Washington. They needed 5 turnovers to win by 3. So that I don't really think bodes well for them. To me, Daniel Jones really hasn't had a good game this year. Like last year, you could point to, I vividly remember the Buccaneers game he played really well in, and there were a few others, but I just, especially without Saquon, I just don't see him like playing too well at all. I feel like the Eagles should easily take this game. I hope they do. And I think after winning this one, they'll kind of separate themselves from the rest of the teams in the NFC East and kind of worry more about, okay, so we're healthier now. Can we compete? Like they have games against the Packers, they have games against the Saints as well. So I think, maybe look towards those games, see if you can actually compete in the NFC.
I gotta take the Giants for this game. I love Dan Jones, and within the past month, the Giants have been looking good and they're getting better. Their offense can score a little bit more, but they're still scoring above 20 points a game. I think that I know the Eagles are healthy, but one, it's in divisional game. Two, the Eagles always find a way to make it to the end. Last time at the end, Boston Scott had that great catch to win the game, but now I think that they're not going to be able to luck out with that type of play. I think it'll be a close game, not like a 35-28 game, but probably, you know, I could see like 24-21 or 28-24, something like that. But I gotta take the Giants. I think they're getting better. They're getting more comfortable. Joe Judge is getting used to being a first year coach. So I think they're gonna take this one and then make the division more interesting.
I think what I'm hoping for is that the Eagles like storm out of the gate in this one. They win this game like 35-14 or something like that. I don't imagine that's going to happen. I think the same thing will happen that happened the last time these teams played. Both teams will kind of struggle, won't really find their footing until later on in the game. I think it's going to benefit the Eagles tremendously that Miles Sanders is coming back. The run game really struggled the last time these two teams played, so getting him back is going to help out a lot. Alshon Jeffrey also adds another dynamic to the passing game. If they can get him involved, maybe to get the attention off Travis Fulgham and Jalen Reagor, and maybe involve Dallas Goedert a little bit more. He wasn't involved as much in their last game against Dallas. And for the Giants, it's not looking all that well for them. They could again win this game. Who knows the way the NFC East has been going this year? They could be without Devonta Freeman and also Sterling Shepard. They're both questionable as of right now, but I think they expect them both to end up playing. So that'll help them, obviously. Probably their top wide receiver and their top back as of right now with Saquon down, obviously. But I would imagine the Eagles win this game. I don't think it'll be as comfortable as I want it to be. They'll probably win it. It'll come down to the wire like these games usually do. Anthony's probably got it right with the score prediction being close. I would say it's going to swing in the favor of the Eagles, though, probably like 24-20, something like that. Similar low-scoring game, not as high-scoring. And Dan made a good point about how the Eagles have a rough second half of the season. The last few seasons, they've been a really good second half team. Both of the last 2 seasons making push late in the season, making it to the playoffs. This is a game they really need. They got a rough second half of the season coming up. They're going to play at Cleveland. They end up playing Dallas and Washington again. They also play at Green Bay. They play, I believe they play St. Louis, or not St. Louis, I'm sorry, New Orleans. They also play
Arizona.
They play Arizona. I think there's someone else in that mix too. They end up playing
Seattle.
So they play
right?
Seattle, yep, and they can never beat Seattle. So Packers, yep. So the Eagles, they desperately need to win this game. This will be their 3rd win in a row. So it'll be a very important win for them, especially the way the NFC East is going. As I said, they need this win just to kind of stand out above those teams. It'll put them at 4-4-1, which obviously isn't the prettiest of records, but again, in the NFC East is the most beautiful thing you could lay your eyes on. So I'm going to take the Eagles. Dan also takes the Eagles. Anthony takes the Giants. Should be a fun one to watch, though, I would say. Line for this game is Eagles 3.5. I think I'm going to take that. Might win by a
I'm
little bit
taking it.
more. Yeah. Anthony obviously is not going to take it, going with the Giants. Over-under is 44. I'll take the over for this game.
I'm taking the over. I think the Eagles will win by like 2 touchdowns. I hope I'm right. I think they should.
44 over.
Anthony goes with the over. All of us take the over. Very good. Next game, Texans, they play the Browns. Browns coming off their bye week, just like the Eagles are. This should be an interesting game. I think it'll tell us a lot about the Browns because Texans have been playing pretty well so far this season. Obviously, their record doesn't show it, but they've been playing some decent games. And the Browns, I feel like a lot of people are still undecided on if the Browns are a good team or if they just get lucky sometimes. For Cleveland, they're going to decide on Friday if they can activate him off IR. So they'll look to see if he can play this week. If not, I imagine they'll look for him to see him play next weekend. And for Houston, I believe they have David Johnson is questionable. I believe he has a concussion. So they're going to look to see if he can play on Sunday. But let's get into this game. What do you guys got?
I think that this is kind of a must-win game for the Browns if they want to stay in the wild card race in the AFC. I think if Nick Chubb plays, it's going to be huge for them because this Texans defense is really easy to run the ball against and throw the ball against, to be honest. So I think that with Nick Chubb being back, it'll help a lot. Even without him, I think they should try to get Kareem Hunt more involved, not only in the passing game, but on the ground. He's very capable of back. We all know it. So I think establishing the run will be huge for Cleveland. And just, with Odell Beckham out, just trying to get guys like Jarvis Landry, who really hasn't had a good game all season, Donovan Peoples-Jones, who had that game-winning touchdown against Cincinnati, just kind of getting those guys involved. And I think the defense will be able to play, okay against Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Myles Garrett will, of course, get his pressures, get his sacks. And I think that even though the Texans have been playing well, especially if Nick Chubb comes back, I'm going to have to go with Cleveland on this one, even though I know Anthony's going to disagree.
Yeah, I'm picking the Texans. That's my prediction for this week. Texans upsetting the Browns. They're getting Texans looking better, and plus it's the second half of the season, so they always play better towards the end. They are like one of the worst teams in the league. They're like I think the bottom 4, but they're gonna win games, and this is one of the games they're gonna win. I think Sean Watson is starting to get better. I know David Johnson's questionable, but last week Duke Johnson played very well, and then Will Fuller will have a big day. I think that he'll be able to beat Ward in that battle wide receiver cornerback. I like the Texans. They're a very underrated team. I know their record doesn't show it, but they can still compete. Don't be surprised if you see them like beat the Colts or beat the Titans in their divisional game, just because they do have Deshaun Watson and they're not a bad team. They're just not having the right year. Something's not clicking, but they are a second half of the season team. So I think they'll show. And then I'm not high on the Browns. You all know that.
Well, you know that story very well, Anthony. For me, I think this game really depends on if Baker Mayfield is going to have a good game or not. Dan mentioned that the Texans aren't really good at stuff in the run. So, I mean, you could hand the ball off 60 times a game and probably still win this game pretty comfortably, I would say, especially if Chubb ends up playing. But if you're going to have a balanced offense, which they usually do, and if Baker Mayfield ends up throwing, let's say, 3 interceptions, because, we all know he has those games sometimes where he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then we have some of those games where we wonder why he was the first overall pick. So I think the game really depends on if Baker Mayfield has a good game or not. If he does, then they're going to win. If he doesn't, then they lose. I think for me, it's as simple as that, realistically. Dan said it, Texans defense just not that good. Overall, they're not just not that good. And the Browns do have the pieces on offense. Granted, Odell Beckham is out for the season. They still have the pieces on offense. He said Jarvis Landry and Donovan Peoples-Jones. They still have Kareem Hunt, even if Nick Chubb doesn't play. And we've seen Baker Mayfield so far this season. He's looked like a pretty average quarterback, a little above average, I would say. Anthony thinks he's one of the worst in the league right now, but that's a different story. So I think the Browns do end up winning this game. I think Baker Mayfield will have a good game. If he doesn't, then Anthony will probably be very happy. I, on the other hand, probably won't care as much. But I say the Browns win this game. Probably, I would say at least by 10 points. Probably, I think they win this game comfortably. But I think the Texans, they stay in it for a little bit, and then the Browns take off in the second half, maybe. Line for this game is Cleveland -3. I will take that.
I'll take it. I'm thinking 6 or 7.
Nope.
Obviously, nope for Anthony. Over/under is 49. I'm going to take the over. I think Cleveland puts a nice showing on offense.
Yeah, I'll take the over too.
I'll take the over.
Okay, next game we'll move on to. Sticking to the 1 o'clock games, the Washington football team, they'll play the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Let's just get right into it. What do we got on this game, guys?
Yeah, this game should be an interesting one. Matt Stafford, we didn't think that he was going to play last week, and he did. And he didn't play well, if we're being honest. And I think he went out with a concussion during the game. Chase Daniel had to come in. So the Lions, they're a bit of a mixed bag. I don't know. I think it's Kenny Galladay is still questionable if he will play. If he plays, that could be a huge difference because he's, such a talented player. He really is. I think I said he's one of the most underrated players in the league, or offensive players in the league, and I still stand by that. Whenever he plays well. So if he's there, I think it could add a whole new dynamic to the game. But I don't know. There's something about this Washington team. They play extremely hard. They almost won the game last week and they had 5 turnovers. I don't think a team will have 5 turnovers a game each week. I think they need to get Antonio Gibson a little bit more involved. He only had 6 touches last week, which they were down, so it kind of makes sense. But I think you need to try to establish a run a bit. And just to me, it seems like Terry McLaurin is just quarterback proof. He can just play well regardless of who's throwing to him, which is really good if you're a fantasy owner of him, but also if you're a Washington fan. He makes plays. And I don't know if this is like too bold, but I think I'm going to take Washington in this game, especially if Kenny Galladay doesn't play.
I'm gonna take the Lions just because I want Washington to lose. I want them to have a good draft pick. I don't really see. I think they should compete, but I think they should lose. I think it's the best for their franchise just because we don't know what the Jets are doing. They have said that Darnold's their future, but you never know. And then the Jaguars do have Minshew, but I don't. It looks like they're probably just going to pass on him. So if they can keep losing and get a top 5, top 6 pick, that they can get Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, whatever one the Jaguars don't take, it's most likely going to be Fields, which I think is going to be a great fit. So I hope the Washington team wins, but I'm going to take the line just because I think they're going to, not try to lose, but have something not go their way intentionally.
I like the Lions in this game. I think Dan makes a good point. If Kenny Galladay plays or not, it'll probably be a big factor. But I like their running backs, DeAndre Swift. I like, they still have Marvin Jones. Still a decent team. Their defense, not the greatest defense. We all know that. But I don't know if Washington will be able to pull enough strings to get this win. I think Alex Smith is going to be the starter with Kyle Allen now out. And Dan also makes a good point. Washington needs to get Antonio Gibson more touches, not just for the sake of my fantasy team, but for the sake of their team. I think he had a touchdown last week, but as Dan mentioned, only 6 carries.
I think Detroit's bottom of the league.
They are,
the
yeah.
Run,
so running the ball will be a big key for Washington, and just really standing up on defense. Their defense did a decent job against the Giants. If they can continue to improve on that, just kind of not necessarily dominate the game, but if they can have force a few turnovers, make some good stops, hold them to field goals when they drive down the field sometimes, that'll be a key factor for Washington winning this game. But I think Detroit gets the job done. I think Matthew Stafford has a pretty good game, regardless if Kenny Galladay plays or not. So I'll take the Lions. I say they win by at least a touchdown. So there's no line for this game. There's no over-under. So I guess we'll just make one up. I guess we'll say Lions minus 3.5.
I'm obviously taking Washington. So
I'll take that. Yeah.
I'll take it as well. Over under. Let's go 47.
Under.
I'll go under.
I'll go
Yeah,
under as
I
well.
don't think too much.
All right, next game. I feel like there's an obvious winner in this, but then again, we're talking about the Packers playing the Jaguars. Yeah, I guess let's just get into this game.
Packers. I mean, there's no way around it. I don't see them like how we kind of talked about how they would like have a bad game and then like big statement win. I don't see this being one of their bad games. I don't see James Robinson, although he's been great, I don't see him putting up like Dalvin Cook numbers like he did. That was a divisional game too. I think, with starting Luton, the Jags are in tank mode, and I think the Packers should win this one quite easily, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I have to go. It's going to be the Packers. I just think it's the Jaguars. They're going to compete, but they're going to ultimately lose. The Packers. This has to be. They have to. The Packers can't just win by little. They have to blow this team out, show that they're a top team in the league, and show consistency instead of win by a lot, lose, win, and then get destroyed. They're off a good win from last Thursday, so they have to just keep that going. They have to embarrass the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'll keep this short and simple. If the Packers don't win this game, then they should probably just leave the NFL, in all honesty. They win this game big. They're still undecided if they're going to activate Al Lazard off IR. I don't think it really matters if they do or not. They'll still win this game pretty
Adams
easily.
is enough.
Adams might just very easily put up 200 yards and a few touchdowns. Wouldn't be
Hopefully.
surprised. But yeah, the Packers, they win this game big. Rodgers probably has another big game. Devontae Adams, I just said, probably going to have another big game. So Packers win this. Line for this game, Green Bay minus 13.5.
I'm gonna take it. Yeah, it's tough, but I'll take it.
I'm not taking that. I'll take the Jags plus 13.5.
I'm going to take the minus 13.5. I feel like the Packers, they should easily win this game by at least 20 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, they should beat the Niners by 27, right? So
Yeah, so
I'll take
over
it.
under is 51. I think they hit the over just because the Packers probably do really good on offense.
Yeah.
Over.
All right, next game. I don't think this one is as interesting now since Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be out, but the Buccaneers are going to play the Panthers in an NFC South matchup. So let's hop on into this one.
Yeah, if McCaffrey is playing this game, I think it would be much more interesting. Obviously, the Saints, or not the Saints, the Saints embarrassed the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football, and the Panthers played a really good game against who, for my money, are the best team in the league, Kansas City Chiefs. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, Mike Davis is very capable of backup. We've seen it, but Christian McCaffrey's, top 3, probably top 2, just depending on if you prefer Derrick Henry's play style to or Alvin Kamara. So I think it'll be a close game just because the Panthers can score points, but I think the Buccaneers will probably bounce back. Hopefully they can, if you're a Bucs fan, they can get the running game a bit more involved. It seems like since Leonard Fournette's came back, they've ran the ball less efficiently. Like Ronald Jones by himself was doing better. But, I guess we'll just have to see what kind of adjustments Bruce Arians make. Hopefully Gronk doesn't drop like 3 or 4 passes. But, you never know.
Well,
Anthony,
I
I'm
think
gonna need you to explain that awkward face you made just a moment
Yeah,
ago.
I wasn't particularly.
I don't.
Is McCaffrey not a top 3 back?
No, he is. He is. Yeah, you said Derrick
Is
Henry.
Henry not a top 3 back?
Not this year. No, not this year.
Really?
No.
He had a
Dalvin
bad
Cook.
game last week.
Dalvin Cook
I guess Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
is the best running back in the league this year. If McCaffrey wasn't hurt all the time, then we could be having a different conversation. But Dalvin Cook is best running back, like I said last podcast. But I'm picking the Bucs. The Bucs, I think, are going to destroy the Panthers. I like the Panthers a lot. They're very underrated and like sneaky team. I thought they should have beat the Chiefs last week, but they will win. They're gonna win this by a lot. Tom Brady will be on a mission. Gronk dropped the balls because he played with a shoulder injury last week, like I said. But
You know how many players play with injuries? Wide
obviously
receivers
not
play with broken
obviously not
fingers
the
and catch
Eagles players
passes.
because any Philadelphia team just gets hurt.
Alshon Jeffrey played
Justin.
Super Bowl 52 with a torn rotator cuff and made the entire Patriots defense his son. So
No,
why
but-
is that a valid excuse to say Gronk had a bum shoulder, so he dropped a few passes?
I get maybe he wouldn't be as efficient at blocking, but come on. Players play with injuries all the time. It happens. Don't try
T.O.
to make
played
excuses
the
for
Super
him.
Bowl years ago on a broken leg, and he still had a monster game. Why
No,
is
just-
Gronk having a bum shoulder a good enough excuse for him to drop a few passes?
In the end zone.
Can't reach for it. My shoulder hurts just by going like that. I don't have.
You know what?
You ever
Move
tried to
on.
jump on a
That's
broken
just-
leg, Anthony?
Luckily, no.
Okay, well then don't talk about how he had a bad shoulder, you couldn't reach for it. That just sounds dumb.
No. I say
If
the Bucs-
if your shoulder hurts that much to where you can't reach out to catch a ball and
Then don't
haul it
play.
in, then don't play the game. It's simple.
No, but the Bucs will destroy the Panthers. This is gonna be a statement game.
All right, well, I disagree now because you're starting to get me angry. Mike Davis, vengeance game. He's mad. He got a good rest week last week. He's going to go off. He's going to have
You know
a
what?
great game.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to change my mind too. Robbie
Yeah.
Anderson.
Robbie
been-
Anderson, I'm telling
he's
you,
been a
he's a
bit
great wide
quiet,
receiver.
but
He's got one
him,
touchdown this
DJ
season.
Moore,
Guess what?
Curtis Samuel.
Guess what? He's got one touchdown this season. He's triples that number this game. Triples it. I'm telling you.
Robbie Anderson only has one touchdown.
Yeah.
He's
Holy-
like receptions. and
Receptions.
yards
I
and
know. I didn't
crazy.
realize he had. Well, I would expect him to have at least 5.
He triples that number this game. Guarantee. All right. Teddy Bridgewater, big game. All right. The line for this game, Tampa Bay -5.5. No way. I'm not taking it. Get
Mm-mm.
that out of here.
No.
Get that bum number out of here. I don't want that. Over under 50.5. I'm going to take the over because guess what? Panthers dropping a 50 burger on their head. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, chances
Um,
that happen are slim to none.
I think they're dropping 35 on him, but
35
take that.
burger. That's just as good.
Take that over and mine the Bucs.
That's why you're wrong, buddy. That's why you're wrong. Next game, we got a good AFC West matchup. Broncos, they play the Raiders. Pretty big game for the Raiders to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're going to look to improve to 6-3, make them even better in the wild card race. It's pretty tight right now. Broncos, not really sure what they want to do. I'm not really going to say they're in a position to contend for playoffs right now at 3-5. But, if they can string a few wins together, who knows? Depending on how the rest of the AFC wildcard picture shapes up. So let's get into this game.
yeah, you said it's a pretty big game for both teams, especially the Raiders. I think they know that they need to win this game to kind of put themselves in that wild card position. I think that they will end up doing it. I think they need to run the ball a lot with Josh Jacobs to do so. And Derek Carr needs to just be good enough, find Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Nelson Aguilar, just be good enough to beat Broncos team. It'll definitely be competitive because it's the division game. Drew Lock has played better the past few outings. Jerry Jeudy finally had a really good game last week. So I think it'll definitely be close, but I'm going to have to give the edge to Oakland because I just think they're a better football team.
Yeah, definitely. This is a must-win game for Las Vegas, not Oakland.
No.
So correct yourself. This is a very big game. It's a must-win. I think they're going to win this game too. The Raiders are just they're a good team. The Broncos I used to like a lot, but now they're just not the team with all the injuries, and they're just not the team that I thought they would be. But I
So
think
you were wrong.
because of injuries. Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay.
We should get that on a shirt, Dan. Just like a
But,
motion.
I think that the Raiders are going to win this game by. I'll probably say by a touchdown, not like a blowout or not a close game, but by a touchdown.
All right. Well, here's how I'll start. Anthony, you don't have room for correcting Dan for saying Oakland because there's a certain team in Washington that you still call the wrong name. And that's considered a big no-no in today's day and age. So
Don't talk to me about today's day and age because
well,
I'll get
just
us in
did.
trouble.
I just did. So, but I like the Raiders in this game. The Broncos, they could be without Judy and Noah Fant. They're both questionable right now. I think they're leaning towards Judy playing and Fant possibly being out. He did leave the game for a little bit against the Falcons. He did come back, so maybe he does end up playing, but they're both questionable as of right now. But I do like the Raiders winning this game. I think Derek Carr probably has a nice game. He's been having a pretty quiet season so far. He's putting up impressive numbers. No one's really talking about him. But maybe Josh Jacobs finally has another good game. He really hasn't had a very good game since week 1, I would say. He put up 3 touchdowns, and since then he's been kind of quiet. So I think if Josh Jacobs can have a big game, that'll be a big key to them winning this game. So I'll take the Raiders. Should be a close one. The line is -5. I'm not going to take that. I feel like Raiders probably win this game by like a field goal or 4 points, maybe.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Any day.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was doing the math in my head. Yeah, I gotta take the Raiders.
And the over-under is 51. I'm going to go with the under, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
I'll go with the over just because the Broncos will probably score a lot in the fourth quarter.
Garbage time.
It's interesting. There's only 5 1:00 games. I just realized that. It's a low number. Next game, Chargers, Dolphins. You got a good matchup of rookie quarterbacks. Justin Herbert takes on Tua Tagovailoa. Big game for the Dolphins. They need to keep their winning ways going just to stick in the wild card in the AFC. So what do we got on this game, guys?
Yeah, this one's really interesting. I honestly don't really know what to think of it. The Miami defense has been playing fantastic over the past couple of weeks. I mean, I know they let up 31 to the Cardinals, but Kyler Murray's been putting up a ton of points as of late. They still got another touchdown too. So, like you said, this is going to be a big win this could potentially be a big win for the Dolphins if they also want to make it to the playoffs and that wild card, or perhaps even the division, right? Because if they win, they'll be 6-3, Bills 7-2.
Yep.
So, they could still possibly win the division, which would be crazy to think. But yeah, right now, like I said, I'm not too sure what to think. I think Tua, if he's just good enough, he doesn't have to be fantastic to win this game. But on the flip side of that, Herbert has to be fantastic if they want to win this game, especially Eckler. He's not going to be back this week. I think they're eyeing week 11 or week 12 as his potential return, which could help a lot. So it's a very confusing game, but I'm going to have to take the Dolphins in this one.
Yeah, it's a very tough game. Honestly, this is a must-win for a Dolphin just so they can keep that hope of a wild card. But I gotta take the Chargers to win this game. I think that just Herbert is gonna have a very good game. I know the Dolphins defensive has been on fire, but I think that Herbert is gonna get a big lead, and then the defense for the Chargers aren't gonna let it up. I think this will be the week that they have his back, but it's a tough game. I don't feel confident at all saying that. I think the Dolphins could easily win too, but hard game. It'll probably be the best game to watch. One of the best this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I think their defense continues to impress. They get a nice home game here. It's going to be rough for the Chargers to travel all the way across the country. So I'm going to take the Dolphins. I'm not going to say Tua has an amazing game. He probably puts up average numbers. I'd say the same amount of numbers he kind of put up against the Cardinals. But they win this game. I think the defense does impress. They got a couple running backs are questionable for this game for the Chargers. Justin Jackson is questionable, and Matt Breida is questionable for the Dolphins. So those two could end up being important factors, regardless if they play or not. And yeah, I think I'm just going to take the Dolphins. Not really sure why. I think this will be a fun game to watch, regardless of who wins. But I'm going to take the Dolphins. Line for this game is -2.5 for Miami. I'll take that pretty easily.
I'll take it.
I can't.
Obviously.
This game is confusing, but I can't.
That's a weird line too, 2.5.
Yeah, it is. The over/under is 48. I'm thinking the under.
I think over. I think Herbert's gonna have probably like a 4 touchdown day, and then Tua will have like a 3 touchdown.
I'm gonna take the under as well. I think you're overshooting just by a little bit.
Interesting. Next game, one of the games of the week on paper, the 7-2 Bills. They travel to Glendale. They're going to play the 5-3 Cardinals. What do we got on this one?
Yeah, so this one is my prediction for the week. I think that the Bills will continue off their great win from last week and beat another good team, the NFC West, and the Arizona Cardinals. I think this will be a close one, but I do see the Bills coming up on top. If Josh Allen can play a fraction of how good he played against Seattle, I think that they're going to win this game. I think if they, he doesn't have to play as well if he get the running game a bit more involved. And I think it'll be similar to last week's game against Seattle, but I feel like Seattle's offense is a little bit better than Arizona's. So I think that it'll be definitely a good, hopefully high scoring game like we saw out of the Bills last week, and I think that they're going to win this one.
You said the Bills are home.
The Cardinals
No,
are home.
I think Arizona's home.
All right, then I'm taking the Cardinals. I just think that the Bills traveling all the way is gonna have effect, and then especially if they don't have their fans behind them. The Bills fans are crazy. If you're like a white table, you're not safe. But I think the Cardinals are going to win this. I don't think they can contain Kyler Murray. He's so good, and then him and Hopkins. I know they'll probably have Tre'Davious White on Hopkins, who's a great cornerback.
I think he's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play.
But I think I think that the Cardinals are going to win. It's going to be a high scoring game, like you said, Dan. But I got to take the Cardinals. I don't see them stomping all over them when they're away for the Bills.
I'm not really sure who I want to pick in this game. There's a good case for both teams potentially winning this game. I think if I had to pick a winner, I'd probably go Bills as well. Josh Allen, big game against Seattle. We all saw it. If he can have, as Dan said, a fraction of that game, they're going to win. Stephon Diggs has been having a great season so far. If he can continue to do what he's doing, then that's a recipe for success right there, if you ask me. They get the run game involved. I think they only had like 30-something rushing yards the last game against Seattle. Get the run game more involved. Singletary, Moss, even Josh Allen can run the ball a little bit. Let him run. So, but the Cardinals, they possess a great team. There's no secret about it. Kyler Murray's been, I would say, top 10 quarterback this year. DeAndre Hopkins obviously having a great season. He's doing great. There's a great wide receiver quarterback duo between those two. Their run game's been pretty decent. It can improve, but it's been decent. Kyler Murray running the ball has been great. And Buffalo's defense, I think they should be able to hold them. So I would take Buffalo in this game. There's no line or over-under for this game, so I'll make one up for it. Let's go Bills -5.
You think the Bills are gonna? You think the Bills are gonna be the favorites when they're away?
Sure, why not? We just made one up. That's what we do here. We make our own rules.
I can't take that. I think the Bills are going to win by like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. I think it should be like -2 for the Cardinals.
Well, you didn't make the line. I did. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna back my own line. Buffalo -5, baby. Over under, we'll say
Over.
All right. Well, the over under was 95, guys. Chill. Still going over
50,
everyone?
48, 51.
Nah, the over under is 95. We just made it up.
Yeah, over.
Over 95?
51 and 48 is 99.
All right. Dan, you still going with the over even at 95?
I have to pass on that one.
All right. Over under 51. I think we'll all say over for that.
Yep.
Next game, we got another really good game here. Two NFC West teams, the Seattle Seahawks, they'll travel to Inglewood and they'll play the Los Angeles Rams. Big game here. 6-2 Seahawks, 5-3 Rams. Huge game for the division, especially depending on how the Cardinals game ends up going. What do we got here?
I think that Seattle are going to end up bouncing back. I feel like with Seattle, when they lose games, it's against really good offense because their defense is quite terrible. And I don't believe that Jared Goff and the Rams offense will be able to outscore Russell Wilson. So it'll definitely be a close one. I think it'll be very tight at the beginning of the game, probably like no more than like a touchdown between the two teams at halftime. But I think that Seattle will probably end up gaining some distance by towards the end of the game and end up winning.
I'm gonna take Seattle, but I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be like a closer game within 7-point victory. I just think the Rams are just gonna be able. Aaron Donald, that line is not gonna be able to stop them. So there will be a lot of pressure on Wilson. And after the bad week that he had last week, I know he's gonna come back and try to change that, but I don't feel as confident that he's going to do it as well. So I'll take the Seahawks, but not by a lot.
I think Dan hit the nail right on the head. I think the Seahawks bounce back in a big way. I don't think they blow out the Rams. I think it probably will be a close one. I'd probably say within a touchdown, if not maybe a little bit more, maybe 8 points. But it should be a close game. It should be a fun one to watch again. There are some questionables for this game. Los Angeles, they could be without Cooper Kupp and Darnell Henderson, both questionable as of Wednesday night. And Seattle still both have Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde, both questionable. So they've been without Carson and Hyde for the last 2 games. DJ Dallas has done a pretty decent job filling in for them. And the Rams are coming off their bye. I think if they would have played a game last week, Cooper Kupp wouldn't have played. But again, a new week. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see for more news on those guys. But I think regardless of who ends up playing on those questionable lists, I'm going to take Seattle for this game. As I said, they probably win it. Close one. Good game. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Line for this game is actually Rams -1.5.
Well,
Rams are all right.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle. There's no over/under for this game, but we'll make one up again. Over/under 53.
Whew. I'm gonna take it. Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I could see like a 34-28. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we got some pretty bad defenses here, so I'm going to take the over too. I think both offenses have a good game. Next game got a bit an interesting one here. The 49ers, they're going to travel to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and take on the Saints. 49ers, they're still really banged up, missing half their team. So just go right ahead into those guys.
Yeah, you kind of just said it right there. It's really a shame to see this 49ers team not at full health because they're a great football team. We all saw it last year. They deserve to be in the Super Bowl 100%. And yeah, I just don't think they have enough. The Saints, embarrassed the Buccaneers on Sunday night last week. And I think that they'll continue to improve upon what they did. Michael Thomas back. He didn't have an amazing game. I think it was like 5 receptions for 51 yards. But Drew Brees also had completions to 12 different receivers. So presumably that won't happen again. But with a guy like Michael Thomas back, Alvin Kamara playing the way he does, and the defense very solid. The Saints are a very complete team. And I just don't think that the 49ers have enough firepower to end up beating the Saints.
Yeah, if you're a 49ers fan and that game's on, I would just sit down, and have like a nice cold one in your hand just to drink the pain around because it's going to be a rough game. I won't lie, so just wait
Drink
till next
responsibly,
year.
folks.
What do you say?
Always.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're of age, we don't do that stuff, but
Still drink responsibly.
yeah. But if I was a 49ers fan, I'll have like tissues ready, just because I think it's going to be a rough game. So the Saints by a lot.
I agree. Saints probably win this game pretty easily. Alvin Kamara probably has another great game to continue his good season that he's had so far. Drew Brees probably won't have to do as much. Just hand the ball off to Kamara and see what he can do. Dump the ball off to Kamara a couple times. Again, see what he can do. So Saints win this game pretty easily. Line is New Orleans -9.5. I'll take that, honestly.
I'll take it.
Yes.
And the over/under, believe it or not, 49.
Over.
I'm gonna go under.
I'll take the
Like
over. I think
35-7.
the Saints are going to put up a good amount of points, I imagine, and then the 49ers, they'll probably get like 17 maybe. So I'll take the over at 49. Next game, last one of the 4:00 window. The Bengals, they travel to Pittsburgh. They're going to play the Steelers, unbeaten Steelers, still 8-0. The Bengals, who knows, maybe an upset alert this week. What do we got, guys?
I really would like to say that, but I think that the Steelers are gonna. Oh, I guess I should preface this by saying that it's all very dependent on if Ben Roethlisberger plays or not. If he doesn't play, I think that the Bengals will win this game. I think if he did play, they'd still put up a good fight against them. But so for me, if Roethlisberger plays and is in good health, because we've seen like how COVID has affected Cam Newton, like he hasn't really been the same. And if we're talking like even if you go to soccer, there's a few players there. Paulo Dybala hasn't really been the same. So, it affects people differently. So if he's back and he's his normal self, I see the Steelers taking this one to improve to 9-0. But if he does not play, then I can see the Bengals winning this game, especially if they have a healthy Joe Mixon as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Bengals. It's all depends on Roethlisberger, but even with them, take the Bengals because the Steelers are starting to get cocky. I don't like cocky. You could see it, and not Roethlisberger, but some of their younger players acting like cocky and everything, doing stuff to other opponents' faces and talking back and everything, which I do not like at all. So I'm gonna take the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is gonna shock the leaders in the North. So I hope the Bengals win.
I think the Steelers do win this game, and it is a big question if Ben Roethlisberger is going to play. He's in a similar situation that Matthew Stafford was in last week. He is eligible to be activated off the COVID list as early as Saturday, but he won't be able to take any reps with the team throughout the week. He won't practice at all. Everything he's doing is virtual, and if he does end up playing, he still won't see the team until Sunday morning at the earliest. So it could be a rough week for Ben Roethlisberger and a rough week for the Steelers if Ben Roethlisberger doesn't end up playing. Who's the backup right now on the depth chart? Is it Hodges?
I think it's Rudolph.
Is it Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph.
So I mean, Rudolph, he did all right last season, but I'm not sure how they're going to fare against the Bengals. The Bengals, as we've praised it a lot throughout all these podcasts, they're a sneaky good team. They just don't really see it. They don't get the results. Their record doesn't really show it, but they're a good team. They can compete. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled an upset, but I don't see it happening this week. I think later in the season when they play in Cincinnati, it'll happen. But I would take the Steelers in this game. Juju Smith-Schuster is questionable, but I imagine he ends up playing as well. Dan said that Joe Mixon is questionable, but if he ends up playing, I don't really imagine it'll have too much of a factor on the Bengals. I think the Steelers still win this game. Their defense probably will step up and really help them win this game, especially if Big Ben is out. There's no line or over-under for this game again, so I'll have to make up another one. I'll go Steelers minus 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if Roethlisberger plays, even if Roethlisberger plays and he feels healthy, that's a big thing for me because I don't have too much of a problem with him, like not taking reps with the teams. He's a very experienced player. He's been in the league for a while. He's played with some of these players for a long time. Even the young players like Juju, he has a very strong connection with. So I don't really have a problem with that. So like I said, it's really all dependent on if he's playing and he's healthy. So if that is the case, then I will definitely take that. Would you say 4.5?
Yes, 4.5.
Yeah, I'll definitely
The made-up line.
Mm.
can't take that. Even if the Steelers do win, I think it will be within that.
I'll take it. It's my line. I got to back it up, so I'll take it. Over under will go 48.
I'll take the over.
Um,
Or maybe
take the-
even. I'm thinking like 28-20 or something.
Here's my thought process. I'm thinking under if Roethlisberger doesn't play and over if he does play.
Yeah.
So it's
I'll
kind
take
of a
the
coin
under.
toss for me.
Yeah, the thing you should take from this game or our preview is if Roethlisberger plays, it's going to be a lot different. of a
Yeah,
game.
most definitely. Sunday night game, the 6-2 Ravens, they'll travel to Foxborough. They're going to play the 3-5 Patriots. Patriots coming off a very weird win against the Jets on Monday Night Football, which we'll talk about in a minute. What do you guys got on this game?
I feel like the Ravens should win this one pretty easily. I just don't know where the Patriots will get their points from. I mean, they do run the ball pretty effectively. Damian Harris and Rex Burkhead both. I think Burkhead was like 4.7 yards per carry, and Harris was like 5.1. So they do run the ball effectively. So I have to give them that. Or sorry, those stats were from the last game, not from all season. So don't think like that. But the Ravens are just a much better football team. I don't know if like Bill Belichick will be able to draw up like a scheme to control Lamar, but they haven't really been winning by him having fantastic games. Their defense is really winning them games, and Cam Newton hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in over like a month. So the Patriots narrowly escaped a loss to the Jets, and I don't see them beating the Ravens.
I'm gonna take the Ravens, but
How much did that hurt, Anthony?
not they are a little, but not that much because I'm pretty sure
'Cause he's
the
a Bucs
spread
fan.
is +7. And I'm not a Bucs fan. I'm a Patriots fan. It's +7, and I think the Patriots will be within that. I think it's gonna be a closer game than we think, just because of the brilliance of Bill Belichick.
I completely disagree. I think the Ravens probably win this game by a lot, honestly. I don't know if Lamar Jackson has a huge game. I'm hoping he does because I'm starting him in fantasy. So, Lamar, if you could, maybe run a few in, not throw any interceptions this week, that'd be swell. They might get Mark Ingram back. He's practiced for the first time since week 6 this week. So getting him back would help out the run game a lot. I think it's J.K. Dobbins, right? He's been doing pretty well for them. So getting Mark Ingram back would help out a lot. And obviously, I think they really should get Lamar Jackson running the ball a bit more. It was a big success in their winning ways last season. They haven't done it as much this season. I think if they got it back in, they'd look a lot better. I mean, they're 6-2, and I'm saying they could be a lot better. So that's kind of saying a lot. But I think the Ravens do win this game. I don't know what the Patriots are really doing, honestly. They barely beat the Jets. I think if Adam Gase wasn't the head coach of the Jets, they would have lost that game the other day. So yeah, Patriots lose this game. Ravens, they'll improve to 7-2. Continue to win in a close division between them and Pittsburgh. Line for this game, as Anthony said, it's Baltimore -7. I'm going to take it. I think they win big, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it might start off perhaps close, similar to the Colts game, but just the way I look at it, the parallels between the Colts and the Patriots, they both don't really have good offenses, but they can have good defenses at some points, and Indianapolis' defense is much better than the Patriots. So I don't really see the Patriots keeping this game close unless, Bill Belichick has a masterclass, but I think we all know Frank Reich is a better coach than him anyway. So,
No cap.
You already said mine. +7 Patriots. I'm taking it.
Over under 43.5.
I take under. I'm thinking like 30-10. Like I don't see much from this game.
I'll take the over.
I can take the under as well. I don't know if the Patriots are going to put up that many points. Ravens defense has been solid so far this year, so I think they'll keep them in check for most part of the game. I like Dan's score prediction 30-10. It's probably realistic. Maybe 13. That would put it. That would still put it right below.
Something like that.
Yeah, I like that score. I'll take the under. And while we're on the discussion of the Patriots, let's talk about that Monday night game. They barely escaped the Jets. I think the final score was 30-27. They hit a field goal right at the end to win the game. The Jets, they were kind of in control for most part of the game. They were up by 10, I think, at halftime. And as I said, Adam Gase, if he wasn't the head
10 in the
coach,
fourth.
they're up by 10 in the fourth. If Adam Gase wasn't the head coach, they probably would have won that game. But Joe Flacco got the start, obviously with no Sam Darnold. So you guys got anything on that game?
Patriots,
I
I
was
think,
right.
very
I said by
lucky
3.
to escape.
Wow, you must be very proud of the Patriots winning by
loss.
3 points against the Jets, Anthony.
A win's a win.
Not when you win by 3 against the Jets, honestly.
The
that
Eagles
really-
wins
does that
are
really
won
count
by
as a
1 or
win?
2 by the Redskins and the Cowboys. So
Why'd you
and
say
the
it?
Giants. Or the Washington football team.
I will say Jacoby Myers had a very good game. 12 receptions, 169 yards. No touchdowns because passing touchdowns don't happen in New England. But yeah, just, Jets fans, I'm sorry. I thought, looking at your schedule, this was a game to win. You blow a 13-point lead.
We apologize, Jets fans.
Are there
You
even
blew a
Jets
10-point
fans?
lead.
Are there like Jets fans, or do they hide in like the closet?
Well, I don't even know how many Patriots fans are. They're all just
Mhm.
Tampa Bay
Yeah,
Buccaneers
they all
fans.
have Buccaneers jerseys on now.
No.
So it's Jets fans. I don't know if you're gonna get a win the rest of the season. This was the game to win, and it didn't happen. Last second field goal. It's tough, but
If
you guys are
Darnold
used
comes
to
back
that.
for the Dolphins, that's the next chance.
But the Dolphins are a much better team than the
Dolphins are a
Patriots.
great team.
It don't matter. It don't
It
matter.
do matter. Dolphins are way over the Patriots.
The Patriots destroyed the Dolphins the first week.
First week. Now look at them.
Yeah, I know. Just that's a thing. That's the only chance I see that's Jets winning. If Darnold plays against the Dolphins, I think Darnold has always been good against the Dolphins. So that's what I see.
I
All
guess
right.
we'll see.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see see what happens the rest of the way for the Jets. One last thing in the NFL, and we'll use this to segue right into the quick news. The 16-team playoff has been approved for the season, but there's a big asterisk next to it that it's only going to be in effect if there are games canceled due to COVID. So, and they're not talking like, oh, if the Jets play some other terrible team down the line, if that game gets canceled, they're not really going to care. But if the Chiefs end up playing, it's not on their schedule, but they ended up playing the Steelers like week 16, and that game got canceled due to COVID, and some other games along the way got canceled, then they would enact the 16-team playoff. But again, big asterisk next to it. Not really sure if it's going to be in effect, but it is approved. If they need it, it's there. But right now they're sticking with 14 teams. But as I just said, if games get canceled, if they can't reschedule games, then they'll put the 16-team playoff in there just to make sure everyone got it and everyone had a fair chance. We talked about this a lot in the last podcast, so if you want to hear us talk about that, go check it out. Any last thoughts on that before we move on from the 16-team playoff in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't think we spoke about it pretty well in the last one, so go check it out.
We went pretty in depth, so if you want to hear about it, episode 9, go check it out. Rest of the quick news, a little interesting one here. Amanda Nunes pulls out of her UFC 256 title defense against Megan Anderson in December. Undisclosed injury. They're looking to reschedule the fight for early 2021. Not exactly sure what card could possibly be on that January card or maybe in February. To go along with that January card, Dustin Poirier has agreed to the fight against Conor McGregor on, I believe it's supposed to be January 23rd, UFC 257. Still waiting on Conor McGregor to officially sign the contract, but he has verbally agreed to it. So that fight looks like it's going to happen now. Any thoughts on those two UFC bits real quick?
Hopefully Poirier knocks Conor McGregor out.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm just hoping that Conor eventually does sign the contract. You can't just say it. He'll show up to the match and be like, "Oh, I said I was going to fight him, but he didn't sign the contract." Something Conor would do. But I really hope Nunes gets healthy again. She's not one to shy away from a fight. So I don't think this is like she was like, "Oh, I need a month to prepare" or something. That's not the kind of fighter she is. So, I hope that she can get healthy so we can see her fighting again, because she's pretty fun to watch, pretty dominant in the ring. or the octagon. Sorry, not the ring.
Real quick, some NHL news. NHL still undecided on what they're going to do for the regular season. Not sure the exact start date. Not sure where they're going to play games. Some news did come out. They're looking and playing in possible hybrid bubbles for the season, where teams go into bubbles for 10 to 12 days and they play a few games in there, and then they'll go home for a week and then do the same thing the following week. They're doing this because Gary Bettman promised all the players that he'll never put them back in a bubble for a long extended period of time like they did to finish last season. So thoughts on this real quick, guys?
Good
I think
idea.
I think it's really interesting and a really good idea because it does the best. I think it's the best of both, like the safety of the players with COVID, and just especially because cases are rising once again, but it's still not keeping them away from their families. You know, they still need to be really careful, but I think we all just want to see some hockey, and I think that could be a very effective and safe way that we can all see hockey.
I just think this is a disaster waiting to happen, honestly, if they do this type of format. I mean, I think the bubble is the realistic way of going by it, but the hybrid bubble, just you send them home for a week. I feel like that's COVID cases just waiting to happen. Realistically, these guys are going to get home and they're going to want to see their family and some other people too. So they're going to be out and about. And as Dan just said, COVID cases are starting to spike again. So you never know. I mean, I'm going to stay optimistic. I hope it happens. I just want to see some hockey be played. I don't really care how they do it. They've talked about realigning the divisions for one season just to make it easier, less travel. All the Canadian teams would only play Canadian teams, and then eventually, when they make it to a playoff, that's when the teams would start playing other teams. But I just want hockey. I don't care how it's done. I'm the hockey guy around here, so it's been kind of dry for me recently with free agency kind of done, the draft. But you can check out my power rankings on the website. Teams 15 to 11 come out Friday, so go check that out. But yeah, I just want hockey. I don't really care how it's done. We'll move on. Anthony, maybe you can help me pronounce this guy's name. We got a few NBA news. The Thunder, they promoted their assistant coach, Mark Diagonal.
I think it's Dijon, like something French. Dijon. But
I don't know.
yeah,
I took 2 years of French, and that does not sound French to me, if I'm being realistic. But anyway, Thunder, Mr. Mark, he's their new coach. He was promoted. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I think it'll be interesting, especially because one, he was under Billy Donovan, which is a great coach. He showed everyone how good he was last year when the Thunder were supposed to be one of the worst in the league and they were a 5th seed in the playoffs. It's gonna be his rookie year, so teams are probably going to try to abuse him. Coaches are going to try to outcoach him just because of inexperience. But I don't know. I guess it's a safe move for the Thunder. That's I think why they were safe in this move, which I don't like. I think you should try to find someone like who is not safe that's going to change up everything. But it was a safe move. I can see why they did it.
I don't know. I actually quite like the move because he was under Billy Donovan, and Billy Donovan's a great coach. He's really smart. So I think, the Thunder are a really young team. So going up with a young coach who already knows how these guys play and what system that they can be put in to play well. Being a young team, I don't know if they have to go out and risk on a coach like, the Sixers getting Doc Rivers because they're in like win now mode. I think that the Thunder can afford a couple seasons with letting Mr. Mark get used to being a head coach, not just assistant coach. And I think it could work well with these players.
All I have to say is I hope this guy's okay with us calling him Mr. Mark for his tenure as a head
Say
coach in
coach.
the NBA. Mr. Mark.
Coach.
Mr. Mark.
Coach Mark.
Mr. Mark.
Coach Dijon.
I think it's
It's
diagonal.
most definitely not Dijonal, but Mr. Mark works very well. So Mr. Mark, good luck as a head coach in the NBA.
It's respectful.
Yeah.
He's a coach, don't say Mr.
Mr. Mark.
Coach Mark.
Mr. Mark. Okay, moving on. NBA free agency slated to start on November 22nd, a few days after the draft, which takes place on November 18th. We broke down free agents in a past podcast. the top name is really Fred VanVleet because the other guys, Anthony Davis is on an option, Brandon Ingram's restricted. So Fred VanVleet is really the biggest name in this class. There's not a whole lot of other guys to talk about. Montrezl Harrell. I don't know. That's all I got on top of my mind. Thoughts on this, guys?
Just this free agency, you'll probably see a lot of players go back. No, the only player that could possibly leave, like two big players, I'll say would be DeMar DeRozan and Danilo Gallinari. But just wait until next season, after this season's free agency, because then you're gonna have it's gonna be crazy. The Giannis hunt is gonna be on it. Rudy Gobert, Kyle Lowry, De'Aaron Fox. Just it's this free agency is a little dry. A lot of players will resign. Just watch out for DeMar. Watch him. Van Fleet will most likely sign back with the Raptors, and I think DeMar is going to make a little reunion and be that fourth piece with the two guards, Van Fleet and Lowry, and then Siakam. So just watch out for DeMar.
I don't know. I don't know if he would want to go back to. I mean, he definitely likes it there in Toronto, and he's best buds with Kyle Lowry, but it did seem like kind of harsh the way he was just got rid of. Obviously, it was a good move for the organization. They won a championship. They brought in Kawhi Leonard. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. You can tell he's clearly not very happy in San Antonio. Just in general, he's been very open about like his mental health and his love of the game, how it's a bit fading. So I guess we'll see where he'll go. I guess in terms of smaller signings, wherever Christian Wood goes could be a pretty good move for whoever signs him. And then I really hope in terms of Sixers fan that they can get Davis Bertans. He's just a really good piece, I think, that could fit 3-point shooter. Ersan Ilyasova-esque. He's the man. So yeah, just look out for those.
Yeah, we'll talk about NBA free agency once again as it draws closer. We're almost there, so future episode, keep a lookout for it. More NBA news. The Phoenix Suns are interested in trading for Chris Paul. You guys buying that at all?
I love it. I absolutely love it. You saw what Chris Paul did with his veteran presence for the Thunder. And, he's obviously going to leave next year. I think instead of letting him go for free, you should get something out of it. The Suns, I think, would be a great spot with Devin Booker, Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, all young, great pieces. They do have Ricky Rubio. They're kind of doing the same thing with the veteran guard. But I think that Paul would just help them 10 times better and than Rubio will. Nothing against Rubio. So I definitely would love to see a trade for that. I would love this. I would think Rubio would most likely be in that trade. Also, I think Saric will probably end up leaving. And the Suns have the 10th pick this year in the draft. And the Thunder already have so many picks because of the Paul George trade and Russell Westbrook. So I think it's a very smart move by both teams. I think by the Thunder getting rid of Billy Donovan and hiring Coach Mark, that they know that they're ready. Coach Mark,
Mr. Mark,
that they're ready to be a real contender more than they were last year and give the reins to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I think they think is ready, especially with Dennis Schroeder also. So I think it's a great move. I think the Suns is a great fit for Chris Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see why the Suns would do it, and I guess in some aspects why the Thunder would do it as well. But I just don't know if the Thunder would get that much in return. Like, I feel like they could get better value maybe elsewhere. I mean, trust me, I love Saric. He was so amazing to watch in Philadelphia. Should have won Rookie of the Year too. Malcolm Brogdon definitely didn't deserve it. But
who?
yeah, I don't know who that guy is. But you already said that the Thunder have an abundance of draft picks. So would adding this one more be too smart? You know what I mean? Because then
Well, I think
there's
they'll get a
all
little
those
bit more.
players on first round contracts. They're all going to expire at the same time. So I just don't know. I mean, if they could package those picks for maybe someone like you don't need someone as old as Chris Paul to be their leader, but I don't know, could like Zach LaVine or something be available if you're going to package some picks? Getting a player like that to me would be more beneficial for the Thunder with the abundance of picks they already have.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that the Suns have the salary cap to acquire Chris Paul. He's got a really big contract right now, and there's not many teams that can just say, "Hey, Chris Paul, how you doing? You're getting paid a lot of money. We'll take you." Unless you're trading another guy who's already getting paid a lot of money. So the Suns, they could make the move happen. They could give up that pick, as Anthony said. Ricky Rubio possibly too. Dario Saric. I think that would entice the Thunder to say, "Okay, yeah, interesting deal. Why not? Let's go with it." But yeah, I don't really have much to say. These guys said a lot on it, so take their word for it, not mine. I don't know anything about basketball. Other NBA news: Russell Westbrook, he apparently wants out of Houston now. Just not happy. I'd assume you guys go ahead.
Yes, from the beginning of the Russ and Harden reunion, I didn't think it would be a good move. They're both two very good players, but they both need the ball in their hands. Especially now that there are rumors that Harden might leave the team to the Sixers, but as today the Rockets stated we're committed to Harden, so I don't expect a trade at all. But Russ needs to go to somewhere that he's gonna be the guy with the ball in his hand all the time, have that triple double season that he had his last year in OKC. I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks try to get him. The Knicks aren't comfortable in this year's draft. They have so many first round picks, and that's same with Chris Paul. They'll probably try to go after him, but I think that the Rockets are just looking to they're playing very smart trading Russ because now they're going to build around Harden and give him what he needs to win and give Harden more control and power, which I think is very smart. So I think it's very smart by the Rockets, and if I was a fan of the Rockets, I wouldn't be mad that you're losing Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I would generally have to agree if I'm a Rockets fan and if I had to pick if we were to trade James Harden or Russell Westbrook, it's easily Russell Westbrook. I agree they both need the ball. I can really see the Knicks doing this. I don't know what it does for them, if I'm being honest. Obviously, they have a lot of cap space and draft capital, so getting a guy, Russ. I mean, don't get it wrong. Russ Westbrook is a star in this league. There's no question about it. I'm not a particular fan of his play style too much. Quite erratic, not very efficient. But I guess for the Knicks, he would instantly be their star. I don't know. Perhaps he could help in the development of RJ Barrett. Maybe some of those other guys there. Maybe Mitchell Robinson could become like Steven Adams esque in that kind of sense. And if they have the capital to do it, perhaps why not? Because I guess it's the same thing, kind of how I was saying with the Thunder. If you had like 4 first round picks in one draft, you're like, oh, that's great, but that's 4 first round contracts, 4 contracts that are gonna expire all at the same time. And I don't know how smart it is to build your team like around that and have them to be like, okay, these 2 guys need to go, but we can retain these guys kind of thing. But yeah, definitely they should look to ship them off. They've tried to build around him before they got Russell Westbrook. They were trying to cater to James Harden because he was their star, not anybody else. I don't know how well it'll work again. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Uh, Mike D'Antonio, but I guess we're just gonna have to see if Russell Westbrook is on the Rockets by the start of the season.
You know what I think? I think it'd be crazy if the Rockets traded Russell Westbrook for Chris Paul. Could you imagine James Harden and Chris Paul teaming up?
Again.
That was the joke, Anthony, and that we hadn't seen it before. Yeah. How do you think Mr. Mark would do with Russell Westbrook on his team, Anthony?
Not good. I don't know. I think Russ is the Knicks or
Shots fired at Mr. Mark.
the Knicks or
I
I
don't
can't
see
even think.
anybody else doing it, really.
Yeah, I just see
Charlotte, maybe, just because.
Nah, I just see the Knicks really. That's hard. I can't even think.
I don't see him taking a pay cut, right? Or he can't because it's a trade, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't even matter.
I could see the Warriors doing it just because they love getting guards, but that's real unrealistic. I really only can think of the Knicks. Like I can't. Maybe the Bucks.
Detroit.
I don't
Maybe
think he'll want to go
Portland?
to Detroit.
Portland swap
Nah.
CJ McCollum.
No, they got to keep them together.
I think that would be
Portland's
worse for-
Portland's the smallest market team in the NBA. They're the only team that's not allowed to have an All-Star game hosted because they don't have enough rooms in the hotel to fit all the players. It's a fun fact I learned this summer.
Portland's a very
I
eco-friendly
think
city.
I
so
think
they
there's
use a lot
probably
of
a
their-
lot more behind just the hotel rooms.
No,
They
there is.
don't
There
use
is.
a lot of space
Yeah.
I
in the
remember
city.
I was at
It's
the
very
beach
green.
and I heard it in a podcast on my phone and I told Dan.
Colin Cowherd.
You can continue.
We will continue. Quick little baseball news. Few of the top names rejected qualifying offers, including JT Realmuto, the Phillies. I believe George Springer rejected his qualifying offer from the Astros, and DJ LeMahieu also rejected his qualifying offer from the Yankees. Marcus Stroman of the Mets did accept his qualifying offer, so he'll stay with the team for another year. The other three I mentioned, they will officially become free agents, I believe pretty soon. I think MLB free agency opens pretty soon. Wednesday, the day of recording this, November 11th, was the deadline to accept or decline your qualifying offer. So, yeah, thoughts on that real quick, guys?
Just pain that JT is probably going to leave. That's all I really have to say. I think Springer will probably go back. He just wants a bigger deal.
Yeah, I don't know about Springer going back just because if he wants a bigger deal, the next season the Astros have 6 free agents, including Altuve, Carlos Correa, who they're most likely going to give an extension, Jordan Alvarez, and like 3 other people. And then this year they have their whole outfield: Springer, Brantley, and Reddick, and they're most likely going to sign 2 out of 3 back. So I think Springer, it's good. I think he's going to come to the NL. I see 3 teams: the Cardinals, the Phillies, or the Nationals. That could get him. Real Muto, it's a shame. We loved you in Philly. Maybe Philly can offer a little bit more money. But most likely I see the New York teams for him, especially because now Steve Cohen, the new official owner of the Mets, is now allowed to be the owner. He's finally done and signed everything he needed to do. So I can see one of them. He said he's going to spend a lot of money at Citi Field, and he already got Stroman back, which is very good. I didn't see Stroman is either going to stay or go to the Mariners, I think. And then LeMahieu, I think that's very good for him and smart. The Yankees do not value him as much as he is. He's a very good player. Only thing is, I really think the Dodgers are going to get him now, just because now it's the Dodgers. They need a leadoff hitter, and he's one of the best in the league at that. But just it was a good last day, and I can't wait till free agency.
Okay, all good. Let's move on. UFC, interesting main event this weekend. Paul Felder steps in. I believe it's on officially 6 days notice, accepted the fight on Monday, or 5 days. He's going to face Rafael dos Anjos in the main event, a lightweight main event, at the UFC Apex this Saturday night. It's going to be a fun one. Rafael dos Anjos, he's looking to bounce back in a big way. He's 1-4 in his last 5, with his last win coming against Kevin Lee last May. This is going to be his second fight of 2020. He fought Michael Chiesa in January. He lost that fight. And for Paul Felder, he's 7-3 in his last 10, so he's on quite the roll. This is going to be his second fight as well of 2020. He fought Dan Hooker in February. After the fight, he said he was retired, so interesting to see him bounce back and take this fight. And his last win came against Edson Barboza in September of 2019, avenging his loss in a previous fight to Edson Barboza. So thoughts on this fight real quick, guys, before I get more in depth?
Just, I got to applaud Felder for stepping in, at the 11th hour. Like you said, he's on a bit better form than Dos Anjos. I think it should be a close fight. I think, not for any particular reason. I'm just going to go with Felder in this one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a closer fight. I think it's not good. It's gonna be a longer fight too. I don't think it'll be 1 round, 2 round. I think it'll be mid rounds, even late. And I gotta pick Felder to win also.
Yeah, I mentioned that Rafael dos Anjos, he's in pretty bad form as of recently, only 1-4 in his last 5. And his UFC tenure has been pretty impressive, especially if you look against the names that he's going to go up against. I'm going to name off just a few and stay with me here. He's fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, Tony Ferguson, Donald Cowboy Cerrone twice, Eddie Alvarez, Benson Henderson, 2 former light heavyweight champions, or lightweight champions, sorry. He's fought Nate Diaz, another lightweight champion, and Anthony Pettis, Neil Magny, Robbie Lawler, a former welterweight champion, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, the current UFC welterweight champion, and Leon Edwards. So, he's had his fair share of rough battles in the UFC, and he's won, I would probably say, half those fights that I just mentioned. So he's no pushover, no doubt about it. But I got to go Paul Felder. The sole reason he hails from Orlando, Philadelphia, the 215. So it's Paul Felder all the way for me. The homie. Hope he wins this one. He had a rough outing last time against Dan Hooker. A lot of people think he should have won that fight. I am one of those people. Again, 215, my homie. So I hope he bounces back this weekend. Wins this fight against Rafael dos Anjos. But it should be a good one regardless. I agree with Anthony. I think the fight goes late. I don't see any early stoppages. Probably a decision win for whoever wins the fight. But should be a good one regardless. So that's our UFC. Why don't we move on to, I guess, college football? This weekend is a lot more quieter than last weekend was. There's been a lot of games canceled so far due to COVID. A lot of them coming out of the SEC. We saw Alabama, LSU get postponed. Texas A&M, Tennessee get postponed. Georgia, Missouri get postponed. Auburn, Mississippi State get postponed. And then one game out of the Big Ten, Ohio State, Maryland got postponed. So a lot of games are getting mixed up, especially a lot of those games I just said from the SEC. They'll play those games later on in the season. So be on the lookout for those games possibly being rescheduled. But we'll go over the top 25 teams like we always do. We won't go in depth on every single game. So we'll start Friday night. Number 7, Cincinnati, still moving up on the rankings. They're going to play East Carolina. Quick predictions for this one.
I'm going to roll.
Cincinnati rolls.
Yeah, I'm going to roll Cincinnati.
Cincinnati definitely does roll, in my opinion. The line is 27.5 in favor of Cincinnati. I might take it, honestly.
Yeah.
Why not?
If Marshall can almost
covered their 45-point spread last week, so I'll take this. The over-under is 56.5 over.
Over.
Okay, and then we'll move on. That's the only ranked team playing on Friday night. On Saturday, it starts out. I would say this is a pretty good game. Miami, number 9, Miami. They play Virginia Tech. This should be a fun one to watch in the ACC. Thoughts on this game, guys?
I think it should be maybe a bit of a close game for a while, but I think I'm going to have to go with Miami in this one.
Miami, yeah. I think the quarterback King is he's going to run all over the Huskies, especially after that tough loss against Liberty, which is pretty funny still. But I think the Hurricanes are going to be winning.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. De'Aaron King's been having a pretty good season. Running back for Virginia Tech, Khalil Herbert. He's over 800 yards and 6 touchdowns on the season so far. He's having a really good season. I think Virginia Tech gives them a run for their money, but I think Miami ultimately does end up winning the game. Miami does really need to win this game because they're still in contention for an ACC title game potentially. But if they lose this, they're pretty much out of it. So they still need to win these games. This is important for them. Interesting for this one. Line is Virginia Tech -2.5. So favorite at home for Virginia Tech against number 9 Miami. But I imagine we're all not going to take that because we all just picked Miami. Over under is 67.5 over.
Yeah. Got to do it.
Over. It's over.
I guess so, yeah.
Don't even say under, Anthony. Don't even dare.
I don't even know if any game hit the under last week. So
probably not. I know we were joking about that Kansas-Oklahoma game. I think the over-under was like 50-something, and we were like, oh, under because Kansas isn't going to score. They still hit the over because Oklahoma put so many damn points on the board.
Kansas scored 9 points. That's why.
There you go. That's why Kansas in their 9 points really pushed them to the over, even though they probably still would have hit it with just Oklahoma's points alone. How about this? Number 10 ranked Indiana. They're going to play Michigan State. Let's just go quick prediction on this one because I don't trust Michigan State anymore.
Indiana.
Indiana's been playing some really good football and making that
Penix Jr.
Penn State look not as bad for Penn State, but we won't get into that.
Are you kidding me? That's our best loss of the season so far. I'm loving that game right now. But yeah, Indiana, I think they easily win this game. The line is Indiana -7. I'm taking that. I would probably still take it if it was like 27, realistically. Michigan State got absolutely embarrassed by Iowa last week, and they got embarrassed early in the season by Rutgers. But they still somehow beat Michigan, so I don't know what to make of this team.
Funny.
For all we know, Michigan State wins this game by 3 points, just because they only like to do good against teams that actually make sense. But I think Indiana wins this game. As I said, the line is Indiana -7. I'll take it. I imagine these guys probably take it as well. Over under 52. I will take the over.
Always. Forever.
Yes.
Here we go. Another good one. 15 ranked Coastal Carolina. They're going to take on Troy. Quick predictions for this one, guys.
Coastal.
Yeah, I'm going to take Coastal too. They've been playing really, really well.
Yep. It's got to be Coastal. Whole team is playing pretty good this season. Their quarterback, Grace McCall, he's getting really close to 1,400 passing yards. He got 16 touchdowns. He's having a good season. They win this game pretty easily, in my opinion. The line is Coastal Carolina -11. I will take it. Over under is 53. Give me the over. All right. Next game, Middle Tennessee. They take on number 16 ranked Marshall. Quick predictions. Go ahead.
I'll take Marshall. Yeah, they almost covered a 45-point spread last week. So
I'm going to take Marshall, and this is going to be a very special game because on the Saturday, it's going to be the 50-year anniversary of the 1970 Marshall plane crash that had included the whole football team. It's a great story. You know, they made a movie on it with Matthew McConaughey. We Are Marshall, and Anthony Mackie's the dude in Captain, like the bird guy, right? Just
he is the Birdman, yes.
Falcon. Yeah.
Falcon, that's what it was. And he's in it also. But you'll just it'll be a special game, and they're gonna honor that team. So just pay attention to that. It's a great story.
I just want to point out that I've seen almost every Marvel movie that came out within the past 5 years, along with these two. And Anthony doesn't know the name of the guy that Anthony Mackie plays, and he just called him the bird guy. So that hurt a little bit, but I'll let it slide because we're talking about sports right now. But yeah, Marshall, they win this game, I would say, pretty easily. As Dan said, they almost covered 45 points last week. Dan dropped a nice F in the Zoom chat. Not sure if you're able to see that or not. I hope that doesn't mess up the recording, but if it does, thanks, Dan. They're favored by 23.5. I'm going to say they cover because they almost got the 45 last week. And the over-under is 57. Give me the over.
Over.
The one by 50.
Perfect. Thank you, Anthony. Next game, number 22 ranked Liberty. They play West Carolina. West Carolina's playing their first game of the year. I would imagine Liberty's going to win this game by a pretty hefty margin.
Yeah, tough first game.
I'm not even going to make a line for this because Liberty's going to win by a big margin, I would say. Over-under we'll put at 54.
Over.
I don't know if West Carolina will score enough, but
I'll
go over. I'll go over. I can't go under.
Give me the over. Number 25 ranked Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. They're going to play 3-4 South Alabama. Quick predictions on this one.
I'll take the Raging Cajuns, man, for no other reason besides.
Wait, the Raging Cajuns are what school again?
Louisiana.
All right, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yep. I'll take them.
I will as well.
Why not?
Line for this game, Louisiana 15.5. I'll take it.
Yep.
Sure. Why not?
Over under 53.5. Give me the over, baby.
I'll take
Always.
the under.
All right, here. This is probably my game of the week right here. This one coming up. Number 2 Notre Dame. They're going to play Boston College. This is a home game for Boston College. I could genuinely see Notre Dame on upset alert this weekend. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I definitely agree. Notre Dame is very unstable. not inconsistent. That's a better word.
Inconsistent, not
Incons-
consistent.
Well, I just created a word, so inconsistent. That's how
Don't
we
think
say it
that's
All
here.
words are made up.
Listen, if you yelled at me for calling the guy Mr. Mark, then we're gonna make fun of you and yell at you for saying the wrong word. Okay, that's how it works around here.
All right, so
I love democracy.
Notre Dame is just. I know they had a great win against Clemson, even though Lawrence wasn't playing. But Boston College gave Clemson a run for their money, so I can very much see that this game's close. And if Notre Dame doesn't show up to play, they can't. Kyren Williams isn't going to score 3 touchdowns a game. Ian Book has to play better, so I can definitely see this as an upset.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I think Notre Dame will end up getting this job done. I know you said Williams can't score 3 touchdowns a game, which you're right. But Boston College also let Travis Etienne have a monster game, so I don't see why Williams won't have a really good game. I still think that Clemson is a better team than Notre Dame when Lawrence is playing, but I think it could be close for a little while, but I do see Notre Dame pulling away with this one.
I think Boston College can win this game just solely off the fact that Notre Dame might be a little hyped up after that win against Clemson from last week. That may be like, oh yeah, we beat Clemson, no one's beating us now, and then Notre Dame comes out of nowhere and just smacks them right out of the number 2 spot.
Did any of their players get COVID?
No, apparently
No.
everyone tested negative.
Every student stormed the field?
Yes, there was mandatory testing after that happened, and apparently everyone tested negative. So
Wow.
I guess congratulations.
Well, I guess they're in their own little town in Notre Dame, so it's not like. I mean, it's still a bit.
Yeah, don't do it again. Don't do it again.
If Penn State beat
Anthony,
Ohio State,
do not encourage anyone. Don't do it again. We are not trying to let COVID spike, even though it is already happening.
It's free. But Dom, you said something that really stood out and smart.
All right, we've muted Anthony. His opinion no longer matters. So let's move on. Next game.
This is smart. This is about football.
If it's about COVID and football, then we don't want to talk about it.
No, it's about something you said that I'm complimenting you, saying it was very smart. That you said Miami is still a contender in the ACC. I believe that Notre Dame and Miami haven't played yet. I know Miami lost to Clemson, but then that could be a upset there that Miami could sneak in, and then ultimately, I think if Notre Dame loses to Miami, their chances at anything are done besides a bowl game. So that's like very smart. So I think they probably play towards the end of the season.
Probably, considering they're in the ACC now for this season, at least Notre Dame is. We'll move on. Dan, you don't believe USC's disappointment will come this week when they play Arizona. Tell us why.
Because it's still too early. It's still too early. They played a shaky game last week, but they did end up coming out with the win. I think they'll do the same. I don't think it'll be as close. Maybe some first game jitters, but I know exactly what game they're going to lose in their schedule, and this one is not it. So stay tuned. That'll be my prediction. Yeah, I know exactly the game they're going to lose this year.
They're going to win this game. I think Slovis and Brew McCoy are going to have a great game. So is London. I think it'll be easy win for USC. Go Trojans. And I just checked Miami's schedule. They actually don't play Notre Dame. They have 2 games left: Virginia Tech, North Carolina, and Wake Forest, or 3 games left. So that's very, very weird, especially because that's a pivotal game if Notre Dame played Miami to kind of settle the ACC and have there not be any just because we didn't play, we're better than this team, because they only have 1 loss, and that's to Clemson. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I was pretty confident in Arizona State last week beating USC. I'm not nearly as confident in Arizona beating USC. So I'm going to take USC to win this game. They should have won it a little bit more comfortably than they beat Arizona State by. As I said, Arizona State always gets that weird win of the season. I thought that was going to be it last week, but I guess not. So if you play Arizona State this season, look out. They're coming for you. They're going to get that weird win. Oregon. I don't know if they play, but if they do, Oregon, look out. Line for this game, USC -14. I don't know if I'm going to take that. I feel like it might be a little bit closer, but USC still wins. I'm thinking like 10.
Yeah,
take
I
it.
agree.
I'll take the
They're winning by 10.
-14.
Over under is 67.5. Give me the over.
Give me the
Yeah,
under.
yeah. Give me the over.
Give me the under.
One of the few SEC games being played this week. Quick predictions for this one. Arkansas plays 6th ranked Florida.
I'm gonna take Florida, and this is gonna be an important game. Not winning, well, winning definitely, but for Kyle Trask to be more of a Heisman thought of or contender. If he has a big game, because Ohio State's game's canceled, so Fields is out of it. Clemson. Is Clemson playing this week?
They're on a bye, I believe.
Yeah, they're on a bye. Yep. And then Alabama's out. So
Mac Jones on playing now.
Yeah, so their game's canceled.
That Heisman stock just.
So this is a very important game for Kyle
He's number 2 right
Trask.
now.
So, but if he does very good, this is where he has to shine right here.
Yeah,
I'm
Florida-
inclined to take.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'm inclined to take Florida as well. And I just checked. Arizona State does not play Oregon
Pain.
this year. Sadly,
Nothing but
the
pain.
best teams on their schedule, besides USC, are probably Utah and UCLA. So look out.
Look out, UCLA.
I totally forgot about UCLA. Chip Kelly.
How could you forget about Chip Kelly and all of his
I
greatness?
forgot that was just existence, honestly.
Why?
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I'll take Florida for this game. Line for it is Florida -17.5. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Over under is 60. Give me the over.
Over.
Next game, quick prediction for this one. Number 11, Oregon. They play Washington State. Go ahead.
I gotta take Oregon. I think they're a good team, and I don't see them facing any competition until probably a Pac-12 championship with USC. Because if they were going to lose a game early in the season, it would have been to Stanford, and they handled them quite well. So I don't see them losing this game.
Yep, I agree. They have one of the best offensive lines in college football. So their run game and quarterback are very good, and the quarterback doesn't get touched. So I think Oregon wins this easily.
Yeah, Oregon does handle Washington State pretty easily, in my opinion. Line for this game is Oregon -10. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Sir.
Over under of 57.5. Give me the over.
Over.
Next game, number 19 ranked SMU. They play Tulsa in Oklahoma. Go ahead.
SMU is going to destroy. Don't get me started on Tulsa.
I will take SMU as well. I really thought Temple had them. They looked like
Me
they did
too.
for a little bit, but sadly for us, because we're Philadelphians, they could not pull it out.
Yeah, SMU's got my boy Ulysses Bentley IV. I stand by the statement where that's the greatest name in college. So they're going to win the game. Here's the line. Tulsa is favored by 2.5. So I'm not going to take it, obviously.
No.
And the over-under is 64. Give me that over.
Over.
Under.
Why would you say it?
Crazy.
Don't make me
Because
either.
SMU's not a big scoring school, and neither is
Yeah,
Tulsa.
Didn't they
well,
score like
Ulysses
38 last week?
Ulysses Bentley, he's going to pop off, all right? My man. Ulysses Bentley, if you're out there, hit me up, all right? We'll get you on the podcast one time. Next game, Wisconsin, they finally returned to action after missing their last 2 games. They're going to play Michigan. Quick predictions on this, guys. I don't want to talk about Michigan.
It gets canceled.
That's not good for Wisconsin if that happens.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to forfeit their season, right? Or they won't be
Well,
eligible.
they won't
for
be
the Big
eligible
Ten.
for the Big Ten title game, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to take Wisconsin though. Michigan is just such a joke to me. Even though this is Wisconsin's first game this season, I don't really
game.
think that they'll.
Second game. They're 1-0. They
second
played
game?
the first week.
They did play the first
Oh,
week.
really? Oh, still, it's Michigan. They lost to Michigan State, which I said is really funny, and it is. That's the only reason that Michigan State won. They could lose the rest of their schedule, but beat Michigan just because it's funny.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm taking Wisconsin to win.
Yeah,
I
Wisconsin.
don't know
And
if it's a-
Wisconsin's a good football team.
They
I'll
win it. They
say
win
that.
it big. Honestly, the line is 4.5 for Wisconsin. I would have taken it if it was 24.5 probably. I don't know if Michigan stands much of a chance in this game. Over under is 53.5. Give me the over.
Always.
Hoover.
And the last game of the ranked teams playing, number 23 Northwestern. They're going to play Purdue in Indiana. Quick thoughts on this one, guys.
Jeez, I didn't even realize Northwestern was ranked.
Yeah, baby, 3-0.
I'll
Play
go upset
Northwestern.
alert. This is the only upset I've said whole
Upset.
podcast. I'll go
Only
for
upset of the podcast.
Purdue. Where's BYU? Are they done?
They are on a
The
bye, I
schedule?
believe. I'm not sure.
They have
Okay.
their last game next week. But yeah, I gotta take Northwestern.
Yeah, I'm going to take Northwestern as well. Their next game is against Wisconsin, so if they win this game and they go up against Wisconsin next week, who should beat Michigan, that'll be a very big game in the Big Ten early on in the season. So
Too
yeah, I'll
bad
take
Purdue's gonna
Northwestern.
win.
Really, Dan? I don't know about that. Line for this game is Northwestern -3. I'll take it. Dan is obviously not going to. Anthony,
I take it.
he takes it. Over under is 15.5. Give me the over. And there's one last game that I must talk about, even though neither of the teams are ranked. They're the complete opposite of ranked, actually. 0-3 Penn State plays 0-2 Nebraska. Anthony's got a big smile on his face. I might beat this kid up next time I see him. So I guess my question to you guys is, what does Penn State have to actually do to win this game? Well, I'll start this way. Convince me that Penn State can win this game, because I'm convinced that they lose this game no matter what.
I before today, I really wanted Penn State to lose the game, and I still kind of do. But after the unfortunate news I heard today about Penn State running back Journey Brown, he couldn't play this year due to medical issues, and then now unfortunately he's never going to play football again because of those issues. And we wish him the best. He was projected a second-round pick as one of the top running backs in the draft. I truly believe that that's just inspiring, and that Penn State is going to win now against Nebraska. If you saw how Ohio State played Nebraska first day, they had trouble stopping the pass. Clifford has to do very good on the pass. That's how they're going to win in the air. So that's how I think. And then the defense is just going to have to step up. But I think Penn State wins this game because of Journey Brown and unfortunate but inspiring news. I think that's going to hit Penn State.
Yeah, that definitely does play a part in it. But for me, in my head, I'm like, surely they cannot start off 0-4. But on the flip side, Sean Clifford is a quarterback, so it also could very well happen. I think for Penn State to win this game, just like all the read options you have in your playbook, just don't run them. Please do not run the read option.
Yeah, I have a good time telling that to James Franklin.
The read option, it works for some teams, but you are not one of those teams. Please stop running the read option. I think they could beat Ohio State if they didn't run the read option. I really do. They just need to stop running that play.
With Sean Clifford at quarterback?
Drives,
were we watching the same game?
Ruins the flow of play. They just, high likelihood for a turnover with the handoff there. I just think Sean Clifford just needs to throw it to number 5 and number 87. I don't care if he has to throw it 55 times, because that's,
He
the
already
sad
does.
reality.
He already does.
Yeah, that's sad reality that already happens. But I also don't want him to rush the ball 18 times for 18 yards. Like it just, please stop running the read option. Just stop. That's all I have to say.
Listen, so neither of you have convinced me that they're going to win this game this weekend, and that's fine. But Dan did tell me the other day that Penn State are 0-3 since I officially became a Penn State student. so I am considering dropping out. Just so maybe they can win a game again. But
Small price to pay.
I'm afraid that they're not going to win a game. I'm going to pull up their schedule really quickly. I don't think they're beating Nebraska this week. They will fall to 0-4. They won't beat Iowa, I'm afraid. They'll fall to 0-5. Maybe they beat Michigan just because how bad Michigan are.
That would be hilarious.
Maybe they tie that game. I don't know. Maybe it just goes into so many
Can there be tie?
overtimes. Who knows? Maybe it just goes into so many overtimes where the refs are just
They
like,
make
I've
a
seen
rule.
enough of this, and they're just like, tell both teams to go home. I don't even know if we'll beat Rutgers at this point. So I guess we'll call that Michigan game a win. So we'll put them at 1-5 after that
I
Michigan
don't know if
game.
they're beating Rutgers.
They'll fall
Rutgers
to
have played the
1-6.
best
Yeah,
against Ohio State compared
they'll
to all
fall
the
to
teams they played so far.
1-6 in the year, and then they'll probably lose to Michigan State. So they'll finish the year 1-7. So
I'll make it 0-8. I think Michigan. If Michigan upsets Wisconsin this weekend,
stop
like
playing with me.
Michigan.
Stop playing with me.
No,
Stop playing with me.
Look, Penn State's a bit of a joke, but Michigan, man,
Listen, there's
can't.
there's a funny joke, there's Penn State, and then there's Michigan. So like, I don't know.
oh no.
Michigan's a laughing stock in my opinion. I don't care if Penn State does go 0-8 and Michigan gets a win against them. Michigan's still a laughing stock. I guess that does it. Do you guys have anything on college football that you want to talk about before we head off of it?
I don't think so.
Anthony, is Mac Jones, where's he at in the Heisman race right now?
They're the same as it was last week because no one played. I think first was Fields, second Jones, third Lawrence, fourth Wilson, fifth NTN, sixth Najee Harris, seventh Trask, but because no one in front of him is playing, Trask has another great game. You know, he was only 8 yards off Tim Tebow's record, which is a Florida record for most yards in a game last week. If he does it exactly what he did last week, he will be in the lead for the Heisman. No doubt in my mind.
Okay. Well, Mac Jones will not be winning the
Okie
Heisman
dokie.
this season. Let's move on. This weekend, one of the
I'm excited.
greatest events in golf takes place. The
The
Masters
greatest.
usually takes place earlier in the year, but due to COVID, it was postponed. They've rescheduled it to this weekend. I'll give you the quick odds, the top five, the favorites. Obviously, the favorite to win it is Bryson DeChambeau. He's plus 750 to win, followed by John Ram, at plus 1,100. Rory McIlroy comes in at third, also at plus 1,100. Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas, they follow at plus 1,200. So, guys, I want to ask you really quickly, who's winning it? Who's taking home the Masters this year? Who's getting the green jacket?
It's always, a tough call. Some people like last year, or no, last year was Tiger. Sorry, the year prior, Patrick Reed came out of nowhere, won the thing. I'm a big Jordan Spieth guy. I really hope he can find some good form over the next 4 days.
Jordan Spieth has odds of plus
I think it was
4,100.
55-1 or something.
That
Or I
works,
was
too.
looking CBS or something like that. But I like Rory a lot in this one. I think he's looking to get his green jacket. You can't rule out Brooks Koepka. He always performs well in these tournaments.
He's plus 1,800.
For me, my two favorites going into the weekend going into the next 4 days are Rory and Brooks Koepka, and then hopefully Jordan Spieth can perform well.
Is Bubba Watson competing?
He is plus 2,700.
All right. So if Dan picked two. I pick him just because, we're both lefty golfers. And I always loved that he has pink clubs for breast cancer, which is just awesome. I love when I see that. And then I picked for the winner, the young winner of US Open this year, Bryson DeChambeau. He's the future of golf. He's big, strong. He said he's going to work on his winged foot shot just because he wants to get better. And that's what he needs to improve. He says he's getting stronger, which is just crazy because he's already big enough. And I think he's going to win Open this year. Now he's going to win the Masters and get that jacket.
Well, I've saved my prediction for the weekend for this very moment. You guys know what I'm about to say. I'm going bold. Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer to ever do it. He's winning the Masters this year. He's doing it again. I'm putting it all on the line. Tiger Woods, he takes it. He's got plus 2,700 odds to win it. He gets it. You know, he put together a nice menu for the Masters dinner like the winner does every single year. I think it's since like 1950 something they've been doing it. You know, he had steak and fajitas on there, sushi. What a guy. What a guy,
You're making
right?
me hungry, Dom.
Tiger Woods, he's winning the Masters, 2020 winner. No cap. You know, he beat Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady earlier in the year with Peyton Manning by his side. He's going to do it on his own this weekend. He's going to do it on his own. He's going to win the Masters. He's taking home that green jacket again. He's going to come out on Sunday wearing his red, and you know it's done. You know it's done when he comes out wearing his red on Sundays. It's done. So Tiger Woods, he wins the Masters, no doubt about it in my mind, no doubt. He wins it big too. It's like he doesn't even need to really show up for Sunday. He wins it big. Yeah. Give me that weird look, Anthony. He doesn't even need to show up for Sunday. He's gonna be like,
You did give a weird look when he said he was the greatest golfer of all time.
wow.
Do you
Why would you
think
say
there's
that?
another that's better than him?
Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones.
Are you a John Daly kind of guy?
Now, what's his face? Arnold Palmer.
Makes a good iced tea. I'll give him that.
His tea is disgusting, but
You're disgusting.
You like
I-
Arnold Palmer's?
I think Bobby Jones is the best. Even maybe Bagger Vance, very not known person, but
From the movie?
yeah, it's a true
Happy
story.
Gilmore, he's pretty good. Shooter McGavin, I would take him. But yeah, anything
It's
else?
Tiger.
It's Tiger. Anything else on the Masters, guys?
I'm excited, man.
Should be fun.
I
Yeah, I
always
can't wait.
love watching the Masters. Hope for Spieth, but I do think it's Rory's tournament.
Bryson.
What
Oh,
was
This
shit,
that?
dude.
Don't do that again.
Well, he's
what
jacked.
was that? What was that? All right,
And you're not.
we're getting
No,
off that, so
I didn't do that.
I don't have to see Anthony do that anymore. I think that's gonna wrap us up for episode 10 of the Sports King Pod. We hit double digits, guys. We'll take a look at the Sports King board before we sign off. We haven't done it for the entire episode, but that's because there's nothing really on it. First of all, happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. We thank you for your service. We thank you if you're currently serving, even though it doesn't make you a veteran, but thank you regardless. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. Here's a few games for NFL Week 10. Highlighted them, just a few of them. The Bills play the Cardinals, Seahawks play the Rams, the Steelers play the Bengals, and the 49ers play the Saints. We talked about all of them earlier in the podcast, so they're all pretty nice games to watch. Should be a fun weekend at NFL to watch. Some other things to take place on the weekend. We talked about Thursday Night Football between the Titans and the Colts. We talked about the UFC main event between Paul Felder and Rafael dos Anjos, and then a few of the college games that were highlighted: Miami, Virginia Tech, Indiana, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Boston College, and Wisconsin, Michigan. So it should be a fun weekend. Make sure you stay tuned. And not even on the board, we just talked about the Masters. Look out for all those good things, and you can be sure we'll be back here for the weekend installment of the podcast, talking about all of it, breaking down everything like we always do here at Sports Kingdom. Episode 11 of the Sports King Pod. It'll be a fun one. We'll be sure to talk about everything we just mentioned and more probably. Anything before we sign off, guys?
Happy Veterans Day. Thank you all who served for this amazing country.
Ditto.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us. I've been your host, Dominic, as always, joined up top by the Price brothers, Daniel and Anthony. Thank you for all your support. I didn't even mention to, follow us on everything, but you know the drill by now. If you're not followed already, you're missing out. There's a lot of good things coming out very soon. We look forward to the future. It's going to be fun. We hope you stick along for the ride. And as always, I guess we'll see you in the next one. All right, guys. So have a good weekend. Enjoy all the sports. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Socially distance. And Anthony, you're going to get kicked out if you keep saying COVID is fake. Everyone else, if you think COVID is real, then have a good one. If you do not, I hope you have a bad one. I just did. We're signing off. So
Peace.
adios, everyone.
That's it.